Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealers proudly present the Senior PGA Tour. The legendary Bobby Jones, his actions and aura always present in the game of golf. Gene Sarazen, the Squire's behavior always impeccable. His double eagle at Augusta forever etched in golf's history. Golf's greats define tradition. Lord Byron, Nelson's 13 tournament wins in a row may never be equaled. Sam Snead's career spanned 4 decades and includes 135 tournament victories. Guts and glory for this man. Ben Hogan, 2 Masters, 2 PGA Championships, and a record 4 U.S. Open crowns. The King, Arnold Palmer. Golf, television, and this man were made for one another. The winner of 8 majors, 4 of those at Augusta. And in 1 week, this man, now 51, will go for a record 7th green jacket at the Masters. The winner of 20 majors and 71 career titles. The man's name, Nicklaus. Today, the tradition continues. After a new tournament course record on Thursday, Phil Rogers continued playing excellent golf. His birdie at the par 3 13th to go to 10 under par yesterday. Then at the par 4 14th, a 9-iron. Rogers to within 16 feet of the flag. And Phil looked at another birdie try. This then to go to 11 under par. His putting stroke that pure all week. At 16 from the fringe, from 40 feet away. And yes, another birdie. That to 12 under par for jolly Phil Rogers. With wife Karen cheering and clapping alongside. Can Rogers hold on for his first Senior PGA Tour win with 36 holes to go? We're at the Cochise course at Desert Mountain, designed by a man named Nicklaus. As ESPN welcomes you to Scottsdale, Arizona. It's live 3rd round coverage of the tradition, presented by Mobile. In the Sonoran Desert, you will find improbable mountains and highland streams and pine forests where the mountain lion dwells. But today, a bear has been roaming the desert, a golden bear, the man that designed this golf course, Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus, the defending champion, even par after a 71 on Thursday and a 73 yesterday. And as he went to the par 5 15th, he recorded 5 birdies and 1 bogey. He was 4 under par for his round and for the tournament. A birdie try at 15 to go to 5 under par. Into the heart of the hole, the defending champion, 5 under, trailing Phil Rogers by 5 at that point. But the bear wasn't through yet. At the par 5 18th, his second shot, a 5-iron. A 5-iron for his second shot on a hole that measures 531 yards. Just shy of the fringe, below and to the right of the flagstick. Then Nicklaus. This his 3rd shot at 18. He chipped one in here a year ago. But not today. but still a 4.5 footer for a birdie to go 6 under par in the clubhouse. This then for a round of 66. His 7th birdie, 1 bogey, a 66, 6 under in the clubhouse for the defending champion. A terrific 3rd round. The Bear is back with a roar. Our leaderboard then looks like this. Ben Smith is the leader at 9 under par. Phil Rogers, who had a 6-stroke lead when the day dawned, is now 1 off the lead. Jim Colbert also trailing by 1. And the rest of those all in contention here in the 3rd round. And as we welcome you back, Bob Murphy's alongside. Hi again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly. Welcome back to what has been, for the first 2 days, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Phil turned 53 on Wednesday, shot a new tournament course record 65 on Thursday, tacked down a 5 under 67 yesterday, and had a 6-shot lead when this 3rd round dawned. But this is a 4-day tournament, not 3. Big difference in the Golden Bear back into the hunt.
It's also the weekend. Yes, Jack is our defending champion. He knows the golf course, obviously. Played very well this morning, birdied 5 of the first 8 holes, out quickly. His putter's still balking, Jim. I hope that Sunday brings out the best, because he's going to need it. Well,
let's join Jack Nicklaus and Gary Koch at the 18th. Jack has just signed his scorecard, and the Bear's back with a roar, I guess, Gary.
He certainly is, Jim. Jack, I know you must have had a number in mind today to get back into contention. What was it?
Well, Gary, I felt like that I had to shoot a couple of rounds of 66 or better if I wanted to have any chance to win the golf tournament. And I got one of them today, so I've got another one to go tomorrow. But I played pretty well. Actually, I haven't played all that badly all week, and I really just haven't made very many putts. I had it close enough to the hole enough times today that I couldn't miss all of them, I guess.
Were you having trouble reading them, or is it the speed, or just not getting the ball started on line?
Well, I guess if anybody should know these greens, it should be me, Gary, but I can't read them. I'm having a horrible time. You know, everything seems to break towards the valley off the mountain, and I just haven't been hit. Well, I have. I know that I've read enough of them right. I've probably hit enough of them poorly that it's probably gotten in my mind both ways. But today I made a few, the good ones I needed to make from 4 or 5 feet, and but nothing longer.
What's it going to take tomorrow to be another champion?
Well, I don't know. I think, as I told you, I said if I shoot a pair of 66s, I think I have a chance. So we'll go out and see what we can do tomorrow, and if I can do that, maybe I have a chance.
Well, we know you do.
Thanks, guys.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Last year, when Jack Nicklaus won, he was 9 under par over his last 36 holes. Now, how about Ben Smith, another non-winner, along with Phil Rogers, man that was in the Marine Corps, sold insurance, was a pin setter at a bowling alley, and right now he's got a 1-shot lead, and he's being chased by Nicklaus.
Yeah, and Ben's been out here 6 years. He's played well, but he just hadn't broken through, and I don't really know the reason. It seems like he has some problems on Sunday, so we'll just have to wait and see. He seems confident enough.
Phil Rogers, of course, good friend of Bob Murphy's, has been working with his friend Gary Smith on a new address position and on his backswing. How about his mental composure, though? You talked with him this morning.
Well, he was still quite relaxed, a little bit nervous, I would say, but that's good. He bogeyed the first hole, and I think that brought him right back to earth. He says, I'm trusting my golf swing, Murph, and I've been working on it very hard. That's good, Jim. So then he came back and he made some bogeys, yes, but he followed those with birdies.
Then there's our friend Jim Colbert, the former announcer. He's just in his 3rd event on the Senior PGA Tour. He's only 1 off the lead. Jim's had the eye of a tiger all week in this tournament.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Jim on the Senior Tour for only 3 weeks, but I watched him too many times on the PGA Tour. He trusts his golf swing. He knows his golf swing, and it will work. It will repeat.
Trailing by 1 right now, that man, Jim Colbert, a man who's a member here, Jim Nelford. He knows some of the subtleties of this desert mountain course, and he's been following the field of course all week. He's got some insight now as to what he thinks will happen over the next 27 holes.
Thanks, Jim. You know, one of the important things when playing this Cochise golf course is using good golf course management. What I mean by that is you have to know when you can go at flags and when you have to lay off some flags. Guys who are going at flags that are dangerous pins can miss it by just a little bit and end up making bogeys and doubles. Those guys who know when to shoot away from the flags and avoid the trouble are going to be in contention at the end of the week.
That man is in contention, you bet. 7 birdies, 1 bogey today. A 6 under 66 in the clubhouse at 6 under par.
Thanks, Jack.
Trailing Ben Smith by just 3. Smith, your leader at 9 under par. Phil Rogers, Jim Colbert trailing by 1. Don't count out John Paul Kane. He's 2 off the lead. Tommy Aaron also trailing by just 3. So we've had a terrific tournament over the first 2.5 days. And the next day and a half will certainly be as dramatic on a lovely golf course called Cochise, designed by Jack Nicklaus. And as he said, Murph, if he can't read the greens, nobody can.
Well, they are difficult, and that really is a trademark of Jack Nicklaus greens. He gives you a lot of mounds, a lot of undulation. For the most part, the areas where they put the pins are reasonably flat, but that doesn't mean that there still aren't subtleties there, because there are.
Ben Smith, his best finish this year, a tie for 5th at the Vineyards down in Naples. Out at the 12. Good lag putt there. So it is Ben Smith. He spent 15 years in the auto repair business, a variety of other jobs, nursing a one-stroke lead when we come back to the tradition. Today's third-round live coverage of the tradition is being brought to you by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. By Mobile. Drive your engine clean with Mobile Super Unleaded Plus. By Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring, blends away gray in 5 minutes. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light. Phil Rogers 2 off the lead now after Ben Smith made his birdie, his second shot.
He's laid that up in perfect position, Jim, where he's got about 85 yards to the pin, but he hit another bad drive at 10, cost him bogey, and a bad drive here downwind at 12, and he's not going to be able to reach it in 2, obviously.
Phil is 4 over par today. George Archer, he was in pretty good shape after he birdied the 4th hole. At that point, he trailed by 4, but a double bogey at 7.
George went over those trees trying to get it at this green. It's very accessible today, being all the way downwind.
Oh, he won't want that one, Nellie. That's gone way past the green in the transition area.
And Murph, just a moment ago at 13, John Paul Kane, a birdie try to get it to 8 under.
What a story, John Paul, this week. A man that plays a low draw for the most part. A very good putter, as we see right there. He's having a mystery tournament for John Paul, and he told me that.
Told me on the practice tee the other morning, this golf course definitely does not favor his game. Here's Jim Colbert now, 8 under par, trailing by 2.
Jim, he's got 195 and has driven it just perfectly right down the middle of this fairway. It's a huge drive. He's got 5 iron into this green.
Good breeze right to left there, Nellie.
It's directly behind him, and he's hit a very nice looking shot.
Slow down right there now. Good shot. Well played.
And you can see the flagstick there, the wind starting to pick up again. That's the forecast for later this afternoon, and more wind expected for tomorrow. 2 different types of landing areas here. Let's join Gary Koch for an explanation.
What we have here at the Cochise course at Desert Mountain are 2 areas that appear very similar, but actually play very differently. The transition areas are nothing more than the natural terrain of the desert. I'm here in the bunker at the 12th green. This is nothing more than a bunker you have at your home golf course. Now, in the bunker, as you probably know, there are 3 things you cannot do. The first, you cannot actually ground your club as you're playing the shot. Secondly, you're not allowed to take a practice swing. And thirdly, you're not allowed to move loose impediments. This is certainly not the case in the transition areas, and we'll go over to Jim Nelford and have him explain.
Thanks, Gary. You know, there's a few reasons why we have this transition area on this golf course. In Arizona, when you build a golf course, you're only allowed to water so many acres of grass. So you need a buffer zone between the natural desert terrain and the grass. The other reason is when we do get rain in Arizona, we get flash floods, and this helps save the golf course. Now, when you play this shot, the differences are that you can move loose impediments, you can take a practice swing, and you can ground the club behind the ball before you hit the shot. Now, the different approach to this shot is that in a bunker, you use the bounce on the club to get the club in and out of the sand. The problem here is on this transition area is the ground's very hard, and the club tends to bounce very quickly. So what you do is you play it off the heel of the club where there's not so much bounce. So the fellows will play it off the heel of the club, lower their hands a little bit, and try to just scoop it out.
There it is, Murph. Of course, we've seen Archer in that area at 12, and it'll certainly come into play at 18.
Jim, the problem with that stuff is, as Nelly and Mr. Koch were explaining, is that it's very difficult to stop the ball because of the large pebbles that are in that area.
Phil Rogers, 4 over par today. His round has included a double bogey. And let's talk about it a little bit, Bob, because he's only made, up until today's round, 2 bogeys. So, I mean, he has to regroup a little bit, refocus.
Yeah, he's just made a couple of mistakes. However, all the guys that are in the lead and right around the lead with him, they've done the same thing that Phil has done throughout the 3 days. Maybe Phil's just made them right here, and it's noticeable because it's happening when he's in the lead. But he's okay. He's still under control.
Heat here in the desert also a factor. Here's Ben Smith now on the tee at 13. He's had back-to-back birdies at 11 and 12.
Ben's been very consistent. He's made a few bogeys, Jim, but he hadn't suffered the doubles, which most of the other players have. He won't like that one, however, way up on the high bank there, pitching back down.
Jim Colbert, Phil Rogers, 2 off the lead. John Paul Kane trailing by 3. Nicklaus in with that 66. George Archer's 3rd shot out at the par 5 12th.
George just caught a bad lie on that stuff. It went way behind the green, and he did about as good as he could just to get this ball on the green. He's got about 40 feet, so par looks like a good score.
Well, that's really what he had to do, too, is make a decision, and his decision was not to mess with the bank and leave it short, Nelly. He just thought I'd go ahead and put it on the green.
Our leader, 56-year-old Ben Smith out of Orlando, Florida.
Hard pitch here, Jim. You can see the steep bank. You see how high his right foot is above his left.
Difficult pitch, Murph, as you said, coming down the hill out of that wiry grass. Boy, he's played it beautifully. What a great shot. Great touch.
That's what he's had, too, from long distances on the putting green and around the edges. Ben Smith has had terrific touch.
Back at 12, Jim Colbert, 8 under par, trailing by 2.
Jim's got the kind of putt that he wants here. You know, he's only got it about 15 feet right behind the hole. George Archer's going to be away first. He's got about 40 feet.
That grain at the edge of the green there is the grain against Jim Colbert there. Do you think he'll putt it or chip it?
It's fairly sticky, Bob, and, you know, if it was me, and being Jim the way he chips, I know he's a very good chipper. I think he may take about an 8-iron, just bump it over the French, let it run down to the hole.
George has been pretty steady this week. Pretty hard pull there off the side of that little hill he was on there for the second shot.
He's had back-to-back 69s, but last night, after he signed his scorecard, he told everybody, he said, I've had a real tough time reading these greens.
Yes. Well, if George Archer and Jack Nicklaus are having a tough time, then it's no wonder the other boys are befuddled.
George.
That's big lead. George's caddy talking to the ball.
I'm just going to put it in.
Series of whoa, whoa, whoas, and then good putt.
Okay. What are you trying to do here first? You all right, George? Whatever you want.
Meanwhile, at 13, our look at Chi-Chi. First look today. Chi-Chi started out the day at 6 under par, 6 back of Rogers. He bogeyed 2 out of his first 3, and he's had stomach problems today.
He wasn't feeling well at all on the practice tee, and they had some medical attention for Chi-Chi. Now let's see the choice of clubs here, Jim Nelford.
Well, he's going to put a little loft on this, and I think try to turn it down just a little bit so he can get a pure roll on it. When you close the club face on a wedge or a sand wedge, it gives the ball just a little purer roll, and he only has to bump it about 2 feet over this fringe. So it's a quick little chip.
Chip overall will fall from Jim's right to his left. If it falls left, it's going to be awfully good.
Well, you wouldn't think carrying it that far on the green.
Nice chip. Good touch. Another birdie.
Talking to Willie, his caddy. Willie caddied for all 8 of Jim's victories on the regular tour when he earned over $1.5 million. Willie got Jim jump-started in the back 9 yesterday. Gave him a little poke in the shoulder and said, "Come on, French pro, you're the man, you're the man." Jim said, "Okay, I am." Jim Dent for a birdie to go 8 under, you bet.
Nice to see Jim playing well again. He had a rough start so far this year. Back on track.
I'm sorry, the graphic there was a little early, but Jim Dent was at 7 under par after that birdie went in. John Paul Kane.
John Paul, who's playing very well, and we've talked about the advantage of hitting a fade on this golf course. It looked like to me John Paul just hit that one straight at the hole, so that'll work too.
Back to 12 with Phil Rogers.
Phil's got about a 12-footer here, and it's going to break from his right to his left. He's kind of been a little tentative on his last couple of putts.
Not tentative at all there.
No, that'll turn it around a little bit.
Phil Rogers started off the day with a 6-shot lead. Birdie at 12. He's 1 back of Ben Smith. The internationally acclaimed Heard Museum is a great place to learn about the fascinating cultures and art of southwestern American Indians. One of the most popular exhibits is the Kachina doll collection. Traditionally, these dolls are carvings of religious figures. Many of the over 1,200 dolls were donated by former Senator Barry Goldwater. Extensive collections of southwestern artifacts from saddles to Navajo rugs are also on display. The museum encourages visitors to experience the flavor of the Native American lifestyle. Jim Colbert has said all week that he can get a whole lot skinnier by playing than by announcing on TV. He burns off all that nervous energy. Said he's on the last loop of his belt. He's actually lost about 15 pounds. Playing very well, trailing by 1, as is Phil Rogers. Ben Smith, your leader. Jim Dent with back-to-back birdies at 12 and 13, trails by 3.
A little off there we see Jim. He's only hit 6 greens out of 12 today, and that, of course, is the danger at this golf course. As you see here, see a huge transition area to the right.
You know, Bob, even though he's hit 6 of 12 in regulation, he's made 4 birdies and just 1 bogey, so he's 3 under today.
So he's handling the fringes very well.
Right here.
Bit of a...
Jimmy decided on a little 8-iron. Paul playing 141 yards. Wind really came up right as he hit that shot.
I heard it sound like it hit the concrete or something.
Sounds like, I don't know.
Tommy Aaron, airborne, his 3rd shot at 15. He's 6 under par, 4 off the lead. Oh, yes. 2 under today, and that to go 3 under and draw within 3 shots of our leader, Ben Smith.
Nice to see Tommy Aaron playing well, too. He's fought his golf swing since coming on the Seniors Tour.
Back to Phil Rogers on the tee at 13.
Jim, this wind has really picked up here just in the last few minutes. Jim Colbert hit a little 8-iron, and they think the ball landed a little short. Came up.
John Paul Kane, a birdie try at 14 to go to -8.
John Paul has a little mound to his right, Jim, just between himself and the hole. He'll probably have to putt it about a foot outside the hole to the right, swinging back left.
Oh.
Phil Rogers, Gary, has owned this hole. He's birdied at 30 Thursday and Friday.
Well, he's hit an 8-iron, and the ball's going left. Safely on the green. I tell you, this little hole is playing pretty trickly right now with this wind blowing, and you certainly don't want to be short.
Well, they did get fooled there because Jim Colbert was talking to Willie about 9-iron. They both agreed on 9 and then changed to 8.
And I think he even came up short with an 8.
Yes, he did. It's definitely not up.
6 of 12 greens in regulation for Mr. Rogers so far today. Here's George Archer on the tee.
George also has taken an 8-iron. And I tell you right now, it's a good one to get it up to that hole. Hit it pretty solid, but he's got it way up in the air. The ball's got to get up. He's got to get up.
Oh, that's treacherously close to that bush as well, which probably is going to hamper his backswing. Not very nice. And as close as that pin is to the edge, out of the transition area, George can't get it close from there.
We're all right.
Jim Colbert trailing by just one. Earlier this morning on the practice tee, Murph had a chance to talk with Jimmy.
Well, Jim, you'll be more comfortable while we do this if you hold the mic?
No, Murph, that's fine. You go ahead and hold the mic. I got other things on my mind out here right now.
You sure do, and you're doing them very well. Why do you feel like you're so comfortable this week? You look like the last couple of weeks you were playing well, just didn't get the job done quite. The putter acting better?
Well, it acted a lot better in the second round yesterday. I played really well the first day and didn't make any putts and hadn't made any putts in the first two tournaments. So my dad had brought a putter with him, and he said, this looks like it'll work for you, son. He said, you better try this putter. So I took it right before I went out in the round yesterday, hit a couple on the putting green, put it in the game, and putted really well. So I went to B60, the Ping B60. It's an old putter, actually, but it worked yesterday.
Question, we're finding a lot of players talking about the mountains and the influence of the mountain on the break back to the valley. Do you use a plumb bob?
I use the plumb a little bit, but you better believe the mountain and the valley. And if you're watching me at all, read the putts. You know, normally you look at a guy and he's looking right down the line at the putt. You look at me, I'm like, where's that mountain? Okay, the mountain's over here, the valley's over here. Right. I don't care what it looks like, ball's going that way. And you better play it or you're going to go to Frustration City.
Seems to be a very hard golf course, Jim, when you miss the greens hole high.
It's harder if you miss them hole high, but it's hard if you miss them anywhere, and you're going to miss them. I missed 5 greens yesterday. 3 of them I missed through the green, right? They went over the green in the back, which is what's going to happen to you on this type of green. One of them I didn't get to shoot at because I hit a bad drive. And so I actually, on line, only missed 1 green on line, but yet I missed 5 greens. And it's just very difficult. Getting your ball there is just the start of it, and then you got to get that baby shut down.
You can barely make that out, but that's Ben Smith, about 260 yards away. Meanwhile, up on the green, John Paul Kane missed his putt coming back, so that's a bogey, and that drops him to 6 under par. And he's now 4 off the lead. Also at 6 under on the course is Tommy Aaron. Jack Nicklaus in the clubhouse at -6. 7 birdies, 1 bogey, a 66 today, and the Bear certainly in the hunt.
See the frustration on John Paul's face. Just what Jim Colbert said, most of your job is just arriving on the greens, and then when you get there, don't 3-putt. My goodness.
Now at 13 in that transition area, that ball belongs to George Archer.
Now there was casual water in this transition area this morning, and that's exactly where George is. He may be asking for some help.
Back to Ben Smith at 14.
That's no good. Way down that hill. That's about 12, 14 feet deep down there.
Jim Colbert at 13. Second shot.
Jim, he's in the transition area, but he's got some green to work with. And boy, he played beautifully.
Well, how good is that?
That's as good as you'll see out of that particular area right there. He got a terrific break there, Gary, because that thing really landed up in those rocks.
Well, it probably could have gone anywhere, Murph. It bounced back and left, put him in a place where he did have some green to work with. You're exactly right about George Archer's ball. It is in what looks to be some casual water, and I'm surprised he's not asking for a ruling. If he got a drop, he wouldn't have to worry about this bush, and he might have a little more green to work with.
They think it's an easier shot coming out of there. Maybe use the water for a cushion. I don't know.
I tell you what, he did about as good as you're going to do. He put it about 12 feet past the hole.
Jim Dent, his second shot at 14.
He has 167 yards, and you can bet this ball's going to be left. He's just watched 2 balls miss that green to the right. He's hit a nice shot about 15 feet behind the hole, a little bit left.
It's a good call there, Nellie. Shows you understand the golf course here.
Tommy Aaron, a chance to go to 7 under. Oh, yes, and he's only 3 off the lead, and Ben Smith in some trouble out at 14. So the former Masters champion, a good 3rd round, 3 under today, 7 under so far for the tournament. Bobby Nichols was paired with Jack Nicklaus. He birdied 18. He finished up at 3 under after a round of 69. Don January, he had an eagle, Murph, at 12. He was 6 under, but came right back with a double bogey at 13 and finished up with a bogey at 18. He's in the house at -2 along with Bobby Brew.
Saw Phil Rogers there dropping his putter in the plumb bob fashion, and basically what the plumb bob does is gives you the overall lay of the land, which way is in fact the green resting on the land. What is the slope?
Phil Rogers kidded everybody yesterday, said his pants are actually Wilt Chamberlain's old Bermudas. He trails by 1. Ben Smith, a moment ago, his third shot at 14.
Well, Ben never got the club under the ball, did he, Jim? He had to throw it straight up in the air. It's way down in the valley there.
So Smith in trouble. He's got an 11-footer for his par. Otherwise, a three-way tie. How about Gary Player today? Laddie started out the day at 4 under and had a double bogey at 12, a bogey at 14. He's 6 over today, 2 over for the tournament. Now back to George Archer.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mark Kazire, who's here with me and assisting me in rules. He is entitled to relief in that transition area?
Yes, he is, Murph. He would be entitled to relief under the casual water rule, as you well know, but he may have elected, just as you said, to use that water to cushion the shot. It's a little softer where that transition area is wet, and he may have been able to slip the club under there a little easier.
And he did. Smith now for his par to stay at 10 under.
Slow down. That is one thing you don't want to do out here, Jim, and that is find yourself putting too quickly, because there are many areas that you think might be a little uphill, and in fact, they're going away from that mountain. It gets away from you very quickly.
Back on the tee, 434 yards away, Jim Colbert and Phil Rogers don't know they're about to be tied for the lead.
Jim, toughest driving hole here on the back 9. Into the wind today, cannot carry the bunkers on the left. Oh, he's hit a beauty. Right up the center of the fairway.
Hole sets up very well for Jim Colbert. He likes to play a little draw off the tee. That one, I think that's in the center cut. Let's take a little view of the hole from our aerial shot. 434 yards. Beautiful golf hole, carved right out of your desert. There's the bunkers on the left. Gary Koch just referred to that whole area on the right-hand side. The fairway slopes back to the left. Take advantage of that. Put it over there. Good shot of the green. Ben Smith was down in that right-hand side there. It's very deep. The flag today is on the very back center of the green.
Now Phil Rogers.
Drive.
Another good-looking tee shot, slightly up the right side. Got a good kick to the left. Excellent position.
Chichi to salvage his par at 14. 4 under.
Watch Chichi. He takes a little short stroke and then zip, just kind of punches everything. Jab strokes it.
Still at 4 under, 2 over today.
Chichi's very proud of that one. I'm taking it. He hasn't made a whole lot of those today.
Hold it up, please.
Now he's had 3 bogeys and 1 birdie. Now Ben Smith looking at a bogey putt. Third bogey of the day. That drops him back to 9 under. A 3-way tie for the top spot with Ben Smith, Rogers, and Colbert.
Jim Dent earlier had a very reasonable birdie attempt there.
Tommy Aaron's second shot at the par 4 16th.
Not a bad stance to attack this pin, actually. It's on the top back left. Want to play a little draw in there. Could be an effective stance. Yes, good shot. Good shot.
The man that defeated Sam Snead in an 18-hole playoff to win the '69 Canadian Open, and the former Masters champion, Tommy Aaron, trails by 2. The Scottsdale Princess offers luxury and style to every guest. The world-class resort is also home to the Tournament Players Club of Scottsdale, the golf course that is now the annual home of the PGA Tour's Phoenix Open. It was designed by Tom Weiskopf and Jay Morish. The TPC is a tough test for any player. It's awfully nice to know you can always go back to the comfort of your room, where the royal treatment never stops. Ben Smith, a par here Thursday, a bogey yesterday, now locked in a three-way tie with Phil Rogers and Jim Colbert.
I mean, what a good swing that was. Very rhythmical, Ben Smith. Seems to have a very, I would call it classic golf swing. A lot of movement, a lot of motion.
John Paul Kane, he bogeyed 14 to fall 3 off the lead. This is third shot at 15.
John Paul lays that club off so much on his backswing. Good shot. Very effective for him.
Phil Rogers, second shot at 14.
212 yards, Jim. Into the wind, off an uphill lie. He's taking a 2-iron. He better get it all.
Sound like he made solid contact.
Well, he did, but he's got the ball going left, Murph. He needs a good bounce.
Handy, Phil. That's not too bad at all.
Gary, you sounded like you didn't like the club selection.
Well, it looked to me like he had to hit that ball awfully hard with that club. He takes maybe a 4-wood, he can make a little smoother swing. Hole's playing unbelievably much longer than yesterday. Phil hit a good drive yesterday, had 127 to the hole, and hit a 9-iron. Today he's got 212 left. Colbert now with a 3-iron from 199 yards. Hole slightly downhill, but back into the wind. Jimmy needs to get all of this if he's going to get it back there.
Not that way.
Uh-oh.
No, looks like he's lost it to the right, Murph. Unless it gets up, it's got to carry. Well, not all bad. Just off the edge of the green, pretty level line.
Thank you very much.
Good place to chip from. I think Jim's very happy that it ended up right there.
Last to hit, trailing by 3, George Archer.
George really hit a big drive up the right-hand side here. Only has 184 to the hole, going with a 4-iron.
Came out of that one, Gary.
Yeah, well, it's turning left, though, Murph.
Is it?
Pretty good-looking shot.
Boy, that's amazing. He must have been more on the side hill than I appreciated. Looked like he came up and out of that shot.
Woo! Lucky there, I know.
What do you mean lucky? Hit a good shot.
All right.
Okay, now they're telling me I was right. He missed it.
Tommy Aaron to go 8 under at 16. And the 73 Masters champion taps in to stay at 7 under, 2 off the lead. John Paul Kane to go to 7 under at 15.
Putt does not break as much left as most of the guys have been playing it. Well, John Paul started left, and it's still going left,
So we still have a 3-way tie. That man, Jim Colbert, Phil Rogers, and Ben Smith, all at 9 under par. The defending champion, Jack Nicklaus, with a 6 under 66, trails by 3. Colbert, Rogers, Smith at 9 under par.
The Just for Men Telestrator, presented by the leader in men's hair coloring. Phil has a real problem. This big mound here bleeds all the way into the green. At what point do you land the ball and get it to roll down to the hill? Very difficult shot. Those are the things that we talk about in these greens that have to be handled.
Meanwhile, Murph on the tee at 17. Tommy Aaron trailing by just 2. 3 under today.
Well, if you're going to birdie 17, you ought to go ahead and do it today because the pin is right in the front. They're giving you your choice.
For one on the money list, he's won twice. Chichi out at 15.
And Chichi had an in-between yardage there, and I think he took a pitching wedge and tried to knock it down, came over a little bit, but he's all right.
Gary, the wind much of a factor now as Jim gets over the ball?
Well, it won't be for this shot, Jim, but it definitely is playing more havoc than it has any of the other first 2 days. Jim really has a pretty easy pitch shot here. He got a great break that the ball stopped where it did. Chipping back up the hill. He's taking an 8-iron, just a little bump and run. Ball should move a little left to right at the end. Good touch there.
He's had a terrific touch around the greens all week.
Well, unfortunately, he said, I have to because I'm missing some greens here.
Speaking of greens, Jim Dent will go for it in 2 at 15.
Watch out.
Jim Nelford, is it wet?
Yes, that hit the bridge and dropped back down into the water, so he may not even be able to find a place to drop that thing on the other side of the water. He may have to come back on this side.
That was Ben Smith, third shot.
Ben, again, laid it up a little too far, you know, and he's got that little half sand wedge. When you're coming down the stretch and you're near the lead in the tournament, that's hard to lay off that shot.
That's the way things shape up as of right now. Earlier, Billy Casper finished at -1, as did Dale Douglas, Jimmy Powell, Bob Brew, Don January, and Charlie Cootie at -2. Bobby Nichols at 3 under. Dave Hill finished at 4 under. Nicholas, the big story of the day so far, with that 6 under 66. Jack, the defending champion, right now is only 3 strokes off the lead.
Yeah, when Jack plays around like that too on Saturday, Sunday, his confidence level and the fact that he's right into the heat of it, it just goes up like 1,000%, and it's a whole new face when he comes out of that locker room on Sunday morning.
This man's confidence was just fine until his 3rd round. Today he's had 4 bogeys and a double bogey so far.
Almost 15 feet here, Jim, for his par. Back up the hill, moving a little bit right to left. I know he's got to be disappointed with that chip to leave himself this length putt for his par. We've seen Phil make a ton of these type of putts this distance first 2 days.
So another bogey by Phil Rogers will drop him to 8 under. That puts him 4 over on today's round. A different story from yesterday, though, when he chipped in from 40 feet at 16, tossed his putter in the air, fell limp to the ground, and rolled over onto his rather ample stomach. Phil joked. He said, "I've been taking ballet lessons." Did it show? This morning, Murph asked him about that fall.
Did you leave a dent in the ground when you hit the ground there?
Are you kidding?
Just curious.
Oh, sir, how can you say that? A man of our stature like that, we can't even dent anything.
Well, that's what I tell them, you know. They ask me what I like most about your golf swing, and I say it's your body.
It's like a balloon, you know. When a balloon hits, it goes splat. It gives. The ground doesn't give.
Well, you look very comfortable. You've driven the ball very well, and I noticed yesterday, I mean, you striped it right past Don January. We all know he can hit it pretty good.
Well, yeah, I think my motor was running maybe a little bit yesterday. I'm not sure, but yes, I was feeling quite confident, and I was swinging very well, and I was really hitting the ball quite squarely. I really only hit a couple of bad shots yesterday, and they weren't horrible. So that's the big thing for me.
When you first came out, having come from off the tour for a while, and then you did a lot of teaching, a lot of golf schools and that type of thing. Did you find it tough to go on the golf course and play without thinking about a lot of not only Phil's swing but what the other guys were doing too? I don't see you doing that right now. I see you standing on the side and sort of looking at the next shot.
Mm-hmm. Well, it takes a while to go from demonstration to application, and that's been the biggest part of it for me. And I feel like that now I'm starting to get the hang of it, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
On the tee at 15, Jim Colbert, 9 under par. He and Ben Smith now leading Phil Rogers by 1. George Archer made his par, and he stays 3 off the lead.
Jim wind a little right to left, not really hurting the players at all. A good win for Jimmy to start it to the right and hit that draw. Oh, another perfect tee shot at the right center and long. He should have a good chance to reach the green in 2 from there.
Ball looked like it came out low, Gary, or is that just our camera angle?
Well, I think that must have been the camera angle because it had a lot of carry to it. I'm out here at about the 260 mark, and it landed right about even with me.
Archer with a birdie here yesterday, a par on Thursday.
Okay. George got real lucky there. That ball could have very easily stuck in that fairway bunker right in the middle of the fairway, but it's over it and in good shape.
This morning, Gary and Bob, Jack Nicklaus said it would be great if this man, Phil Rogers, could win. Nicklaus, of course, used to take some lessons from Phil Rogers, as has Billy Casper. But Jack said this morning, he said, "I'm not out of it." He proved it. 7 birdies, 1 bogey. So only 3 off the lead. He's in the clubhouse at -6.
What Phil's doing is setting the angle just a little quicker with his hands. He breaks his wrist just a little faster, tries to get his hands more upright over his shoulder, and it's helping him drive the ball much straighter and with a lot more power.
It's up the right side. Going to just catch the edge of the rough, and I think he's going to have to lay up from there.
A moment ago, Ben Smith, his 4th shot at 15.
Hit his 3rd shot, as Jim Nelford explained, over the green.
Now this is Jim Dent. This is his 4th shot at the par 5 15th.
Went into the lateral hazard. Jim is able to drop the ball there. Rather weak pitch shot.
Meanwhile, Murph, John Paul Kane's 2nd shot at the par 4 16th. He trails by 3.
Well, this is a shot built for John Paul. Played a little draw now into the back left pin placement. You see how John Paul lays that club back off.
Get up. Oh.
And he just didn't carry that little mound there. Got lucky, however, that it stopped where it did.
Ben Smith for his par.
Ben's left himself about 4 feet, and it's not a real difficult putt. He can put it on the left edge. It should hang just a little bit right for him. He's seen Jim Dent's putt come up from the other side, so he got a fairly good read from that.
Back-to-back bogeys. Smith at 8 under. Phil Rogers at 8 under. Your new leader, Jim Colbert, playing in just his 3rd Senior PGA Tour event. His lead is 1. Nicklaus trails by 3. Great golf and high technology have definitely come together here at Desert Mountain. While you take care of your golf game, a computer, with the help of the friendly staff here, helps you take care of your equipment. From finding the right pair of shoes to using the special golf bag elevator to make sure that your clubs are waiting for you when and where you need them. It's golf in the 90s in the Arizona desert. Welcome back to the tradition at Desert Mountain. When today's 3rd round dawned, Phil Rogers had lapped the field. He had a 6-shot lead over 5 others, and Jack Nicklaus trailed by 12 shots. But Nicklaus, the defending champion, a 6 under 66, is only 3 off Jim Colbert's lead. A terrific 3rd round. Phil Rogers trying to stop the bleeding. He's 4 over par today. He trails Colbert by 1.
Get down, get down, get down.
He's laying up at 15, and he is worried about it being very close to the water.
And it is going to be very close, Murph, but I think it's going to stop. Caught a little bit of a flyer out of that right-hand rough.
George Archer. He trails by 3.
Yesterday we saw Ben Smith lay up in the water. Terrible mistake.
Well, that one's in perfect shape there with the 3-iron. Laid it up just right. Now we've got decision time.
Now, moments ago, this was John Paul Kane's 3rd shot out at 16. He's 3 off Colbert's lead.
And a good shot. Good lag.
From behind our leader, Jim Colbert at 15. Now, yesterday, Murph, he laid up. You thought he was a little long, but he told Willie, his caddy, it was exactly where he wanted to be.
Well, it appears he's going for it, Gary Koch.
No, Murph, I think he's made the decision to lay up. He's taking the iron. He had 222 to the front, 245 in the hole. Looks like he's just playing a 7-iron up the right-hand side here. Put himself in good full wedge position to play his 3rd into the green.
Yeah, there comes a point when you have to figure out if I go for it, do I have to hit it absolutely perfect? If I do, then I'm not going. If I can miss it a little bit and still get over the water, then I'm gonna play for it.
John Paul Kane to stay 3 back of Jim Colbert. Still 1 under today, 6 under for the tournament. And when you see John Paul Kane, we really can't emphasize enough how much this golf course does not suit his game. I mean, 6 under for him on this golf course is truly remarkable.
Yeah, he's having a great week and enjoying himself, I'll assure you.
Well, Well, we've got a great-looking leaderboard. The defending champion only 3 strokes off the lead. Live final round coverage. We'll all be back at 5:30 Eastern Time from the Cochise course, designed by Jack Nicklaus here at Desert Mountain. But don't go anywhere. Don't touch your set. We're still here for another 58 minutes of live coverage.
Very few good scores today, Jim. The golf course is speaking for itself, with the exception of Jack's 66. We have...
Well, how about the Devil? A 79. He started off the day at -2. He's in at +5. Crampton, a 76.
Dave Hill had 69, and let's see, Jimmy Powell had 69 today, as did Bobby Nichols. Chi-Chi was leaning and bending and got it on the surface.
Tom Shaw, a birdie at 18. He's in at -2. Charlie Cootie, also a birdie at 18. He finished up at 3 under par. Back to our leader at 15, looking at his 3rd shot. Checking the yardage with Willie.
Yeah. Just confirming the fact that he has plenty of green behind the flag. He's got 104 yards. Should be just a nice, comfortable pitching wedge. Laid it up in a very good position.
Keep in mind, this is a double green, 15 and 7. He's aiming for the flag on the left-hand side. That's the flag at 15.
Wind's right to left. The slope is right to left.
Get it to turn a little to the left. Got to get up and stay up over that hump. Too much spin on it, Murph. Sucked it right on back down.
Oh, boy.
Still rolling backwards. He just told Willie he hung it out to dry. If you would have asked that man 2 years ago if he was going to play on the Senior Tour, he would have said no. But he said the competitive fire started to burn about a year ago. And he said he came out here to compete at the highest level he possibly can. Here he is in his 3rd event, leading by 1. George Archer.
George laid it up beautifully, 82 yards. Nice solid sand wedge. Got it going a little bit past. Will he come in? Will it bring back? Yes, sir. Here it comes.
Good looking. Good little slope right behind that pin. You can trust it. It will come back to you.
Quickly to 16. Ben Smith, his 2nd shot.
Ben elected to hit a driver.
He left that shot way off to the right. Not a very good shot from where he was. He only had about 97 yards. He's looking down at his lie, kind of saying, how come I can hit a drive that good and get such a lousy lie?
Bill Rogers' 3rd shot at 15.
Bill from 68 yards, trying to play a little bump and run up there. Did it pretty well.
So all 3 in the day's last threesome on in 3. And Tommy Aaron now. He'll go for it at 18 and 2. 228 yards away. He's 2 off Colbert's lead.
Tommy missed it. He said, don't go in the desert. He doesn't want it down in that transition area. However, he might choose that over that other stuff.
John Paul Kane on the tee at the par 3 17th, 163 yards to the stick. Bogeyed here yesterday.
This particular pin, a pretty accessible pin for John Paul. The little draw, the wind's right to left.
I could be still. I could
Put it right up in the air. Jim Furry likes it. Good shot. Good shot. Someone else has it even closer there.
Former Texas amateur champion John Paul Kane. Right now, he's trailing Jim Colbert by 3. Winning styles from Team Cadillac. Here's a tip from Bobby Nichols on hitting out of a divot.
No one ever said this game of golf is fair. You may hit the perfect shot and still wind up in a divot. If this should happen to you, there are a couple adjustments you must make. First, place the ball back further in your stance, square the club face up, and hit it with a descending blow. To get the ball up, you must hit down. And remember, replace your divots.
Ben Smith, 1 off the lead. Birdie try at 16.
Has a big sweeping putt. Gave it plenty.
The ball was about a foot from the hole and it just stopped breaking. Actually, looking like it jumped a little bit to the right.
A moment ago, back at 15, Jim Colbert's birdie try. This has been a tough putt for everybody to read.
Well, I don't know what happened there. That's a miss hit for sure. Way short.
Phil Rogers' birdie try live.
18 feet, Jim. Back up the hill. Very similar line to Jim Colbert's putt. With Jim coming up so short, I'm not sure he learned much.
Bingo.
He's sure he learned much. Back to 9 under for Phil Rogers.
What a day. 5 bogeys, a double, 3 birdies. A couple of pars here and there.
Up at 16, Jim Dent, a birdie try to go back to 7 under.
Jim's just been trying to figure out which way this is going to break. I don't know if he's decided one way or the other. It's fairly straight and a little bit downhill.
Get it. Yeah, break it.
That's what you do when you miss those. You blame your caddy.
George Archer's birdie try to go to 7 under fails. He'll tap in to stay 3 back of Colbert and Rogers, but Jim's got a lot of work left for his par. Mike Hill finished with back-to-back birdies at 17 and 18. He's in at 1 under. Reeves McBee at -1. Tommy Jacobs at 78 today in at +2. At 18, where's Tommy Aaron?
He is quite a ways to the right. He's over the cart path. He's out in the transition area. Appears to have a tree between himself and the hole.
Back to Jim Colbert trying to stay at 9 under.
7 or 8 feet, Jim. He has had the advantage of watching Phil Rogers putt, so he knows that it's a pretty straight putt. This is the kind you got to just stand up there, trust your nerves, and stroke it right in the back of the hole.
Well done.
Nobody ever said that man didn't have nerves.
Well, he's a little aggravated at himself. He knows the mountain on his first putt is behind him, and so as a result, I think he read too much of that in there, and he left it way, way short.
Ben Smith has now had 3 bogeys in a row. I mean, after 12 holes, actually through 13, he was at 10 under and had a 1-stroke lead, but he bogeyed 14, he bogeyed 15, he bogeyed 16. He's at 7 under par along with Tommy Aaron, trailing Phil Rogers and Jim Colbert by 2. Archer 3 back along with Nicklaus. Tied for the lead, Jim Colbert on the tee at the 16th.
Jim, the wind has really picked up now. In the players' faces from the left to right. Jim's hit a good drive right down the right side of the fairway. Perfect position to come into that flag.
Ben Smith trying to stop the bleeding on the tee at the par 3 17th.
Pulled it, but watch this bounce. Come right back down on the green.
A little late, but it's there.
That's why that pin is so accessible today. Dare I say that the pin tomorrow will be on the back right corner.
Jim Dent a moment ago on the tee at 17.
Awfully good swing, Jim. He's got so much rhythm in his golf swing. Great hands, terrific hands.
Birdied the hole Thursday, parted yesterday, and will have a good birdie try. Now, this is Tommy Aaron's 5th shot at the par 5 18th.
Well, this is when you know you're throwing away an awful lot of money here when you play a par 5 that's reachable in 2 and you're lying 5, putting 6.
Phil Rogers on the tee at 16, tied for the lead.
Go, ball, go!
That swing didn't have the good zip in it that we saw yesterday. Not the same rhythm, not quite the same rhythm.
Now Tommy Aaron to finish up with a bogey at 18 and a round of 2 under 70. This would put him in the clubhouse at 6 under along with the defending champion. Oh, what a finish. A double bogey at 18, in at 5 under.
Those are not only hard to make, Jim, they're hard to watch, aren't they?
and they're hard to sleep on.
Yes, sir.
Chi-Chi, a moment ago, 4 under par, 5 off the lead.
Chi-Chi playing a little draw right at the flag, taking advantage of the wind and the position. Puts it right there.
The way things are right now, a tie for the top spot. Ben Smith trailing by 2. Nicklaus earlier, 7 birdies, 1 bogey, a 6 under 66. Archer trailing by 3. Last threesome.
Check with P and see if he can.
How about the 16th, Murph?
16th hole is 413 yards, Jim, all downhill. As the players stand on the tee, they can see fairway left and fairway right of a bunch of rocks. Big boulders right in the middle of the fairway. However, it's only about 220 carry over that. Most of the players will drive in this area, which leaves them 9-iron wedge. Pin today is on the back left corner, and you do want to carry that bunker. It's treacherous down there. That's very deep. Back over the right, also tightly mown area. Difficult chipping. There's the flag today. Back left. Good position, actually, to make a birdie, given the fact that you drove it in the fairway and then hit a good iron as well. Beautiful golf hole. You see the transition area beyond the bunker, which is right in front of the green.
At the 17th, Jim Nelper watching Jim Dent's birdie try to go to 7 under.
He's got a difficult putt. He's kind of going straight downhill, and it kind of wiggles one way and then wiggles the other way, and it's pretty quick.
Wiggling one way and wiggling the other sounds like Murphy at his birthday party a couple weeks ago. John Paul Kane will have to lay up at 18.
Difficult for me to tell exactly where John Paul is. He was in the bunker. And there you see he's laid it up safely.
Back to 17, Ben Smith, a birdie try.
Ben's got somewhat the same kind of a putt that Jim did. It's downhill. It's not one you can really go at. You can see he just didn't really give it much of a stroke. It's just a delicate little putt.
3 bogeys in a row and then a par at 17. Smith at 7 under, trailing this man and Phil Rogers by 2.
123 yards, Jim, from the right-hand side of the fairway. Perfect angle to come into the flag. Wind should hold the ball up a little bit. He's taking a 9-iron. Should be the perfect club. Be that good, Dad. He's got it going right at it.
How nice is that?
Nice touch. Had a little bit of a side hill stance there. Handled it very well.
Gary Koch, we overheard Phil Rogers talking a few seconds ago, and he said he's a little dizzy out there. He's having problems seeing out of his left eye.
Well, you know, that I'm talking to a couple of people out here. That's kind of the first sign of heat exhaustion. I don't know if he's been drinking enough water or what. He's a yard closer, 122, also with a 9-iron. Needs to answer Colbert's shot.
Oh, you better turn.
No, he's got it going to the right. Got to get up a little, too.
Stop. Well, that'll draw all the way off the green, I'm afraid.
Just backing up into the first cut of the fringe. Phil Rogers, 53 years old on Wednesday, tied for the lead with that man, Jim Colbert, who's got a birdie try when we come back to the tradition.
Coming off that downslope there. Funny.
Jim Ferree's best finish this year, a tie for 5th at the Vantage at the Dominion. Good round today.
Carry that trap.
Get left.
See how Jim was trying to throw the ball right up in the air and lacked about, what, 6 feet of carrying to the front of the green. That was a good shot.
On the tee, Jim Dent trailing by 3.
You can believe after missing that last putt that he wanted to put a little heat on this, but he caught it up in the right rough. But it's not a bad angle to come to the green in from.
Jim Dent told me that he's driving the ball very well, confidently.
Phil Rogers, Gary Koch's watching.
Birdie putt here, Jim, from 42 feet. Coming up the hill, got about 3 breaks in it. Should move a little left to start off with, then go back to the right in the middle of the putt, and could even end up going a little left at the end. Speed is everything.
Boy, what a good putt.
Phil was just about out of gas after he hit his drive at 18 yesterday. He said that was all he had left in the bag.
Well, he loves to walk. He says it keeps him, keeps his mind on the game better than jumping in those golf carts and whisking around.
On the tee at 18 a moment ago, Ben Smith trailing by 2.
Well and long, and he really got a hold of this one, hit it down the right side, and it got past both Chi-Chi and Dent, and he's only got himself about 195 left from there.
George Archer, his par putt at 16.
Left to right.
So Archer will fall to 5 under. Out on the course at -5, Jim Ferree. In the clubhouse at 5 under. Tommy Aaron after a double bogey at 18. Up at 18, John Paul Kane. He's at 6 under par. This is 3rd shot.
Not an easy shot, Jim. He has to come over a big mound in the green, which is right behind the bunker, and the pin's right behind that. Settle now, settle. Ooh, well done. Pinched it off that downhill lie. That's quite a bit downhill where John Paul was in the fairway. Excellent shot.
Now, Jim Colbert. A birdie try at 16 to go to 10 under.
Absolutely perfect position to be putting from, Jim. Very flat, ball moving a little bit from his right to left. Jim's taking a good look, getting a good read, wants to get a real positive thought in his mind before he hits it. Made a good one about this length on the last hole.
Something disturbed him?
He said he almost hit it, but it was going to be ugly.
Well, that's a tension breaker, most importantly. He knew that his last thought just prior to striking it was just not quite correct, and a seasoned professional will back off that putt, Jim, and start over again.
Murph, you played with Jim Colbert. Is this the same Colbert that we saw win 8 times and $1.5 million on the regular tour, the grinder?
Well, my first indication is that he's a lot more relaxed now. Perhaps working on television gave him the feeling that he has to be more relaxed, better under pressure. Oh, my goodness.
Just at the end, it turned to the left.
Talking to the crowd, saying, you could have told me that ball went left.
One thing Jim has said, though, that doing television with us for the last 3 years has helped him watch other players with their strategy, and it has made him use his strategy a little bit better. That close.
Well, he's a fighter, and he'll be there.
Here's a fighter, too, Phil Rogers.
About 3 feet here, Jim. A little bit downhill, a little bit of turn in it, as we just saw with Jim Colbert's putt.
So, Phil Rogers and Jim Colbert still at 9 under par. 2 strokes up over Ben Smith. 2 left in the 3rd round. Nicklaus trailing by 3. Nestled in the foothills of the McDowell Mountains sits an innocent-looking restaurant, Pinnacle Peak Patio. But beware. If you wear a tie into this restaurant, you won't wear it out. See, it's a long-time tradition, the cutting of customers' ties, and it began back in 1957. It was the owner's way of introducing Arizona's informal atmosphere to some East Coast executives. Pinnacle Peak has ties in all shapes and sizes, and nearly 1 million ties have found their way to these rafters. Our ESPN golf team welcomes you back to the tradition here at the Cochise course, designed by Jack Nicklaus. Nicklaus, a 6 under 66, trailing those 2 men by 3.
Phil Rogers with a 7-iron. Hole playing 163 yards. As Murph has said, good location, very accessible pin.
Looking good.
Yes, sir. As Jim Colbert says, it is looking good.
Yeah.
One hop. You got it.
Okay, Phil.
Beautiful position. I'd like to putt that one right up the hill.
Pin high about 12 feet. Now John Paul Kane at 18.
Hard putt. Watch this putt. Really breaks left. And you can see John Paul's got it aimed right. Hard putt.
So a tap in for a round of 71. He's in at 6 under along with Nicklaus. On the tee at 17, our co-leader. He parred here Thursday and he parred yesterday.
Yeah.
Jim's also taking a 7-iron. Should be just a perfect shot for his normal little draw. Start the ball a little to the right, let the wind help it back left.
Don't pull it.
He's made a good swing. It may come off that hill just like we've been talking about.
Come on.
Yeah, here it comes.
Come on down.
Here it
Come on
comes.
down.
Come on.
Here it comes.
Come on down.
You got to talk to him. It's okay.
Well, that's Murph, that's just what we talked about earlier in the telecast. That's good course management. He knew that if the ball went left, that it would kick back down onto the green.
Exactly. If I miss it, I want to miss it left.
A moment ago, Jim Ferree finishing up at 18. Jim Dent, second shot at 18. He trails by 3.
Well, Jim hit just a great shot there. He had about a 4-iron. He watched Chi-Chi take out a wood from about 5 yards behind him, and he was really confused with that, how far Chi-Chi's went. Chi-Chi hit it on the green, too. Ben Smith's got 196, and he's got to try to put this ball a little bit left of the flag. I don't know if he can hold the green going right at it. And he's got it nice and high in the air, but it's going right. And he's lost that well right of the green. And it's in the transition. That's going to be a difficult shot from there.
Jim Ferree tapped in for his par, a round of 71. He's in at 5 under along with Tommy Aaron. So they're trailing Rogers and Colbert by 4. Well, it's been quite a week here at the Tradition as the greats in the game of golf have gathered, representing over 7 decades of competition. There was more than just great golf at the Tradition this week. The Champions Clinic was an opportunity to get some tips from the greatest names in the game.
And my philosophy with the driver is to try to let the clubhead do a good part of the work. If you're going to let your body and your legs and shoulders and everything else do all the work, you're not going to really hit it anyplace.
It was also a chance for Chi-Chi to have a little fun.
And Lee Trevino said, "Where's my ancient lad?" I said, "No, I'm going to be the best player out here on the Senior Tour."
Later that evening, the Champions Dinner was held, and it was a special event for everyone involved.
Here at the Tradition, I don't know if I'm correct on the exact number, but I was told there are 50 fellas who are still alive that are over 50 years old that have won either a regular major tournament or a senior major tournament, and 38 of them were here. I think that's pretty phenomenal. And those guys last night, they had the biggest kick out of being there. I mean, they sat there and had more fun. They sat there and told stories, and there were a few guys that got up and talked and said a few words, and I was asked to say a couple of words. And I remember that when I was 18 years old, I played in the Rubber City Open in Akron. That was the first tour tournament that I ever played. And the first round, I was paired with Charlie Sifford. So I called the story about Charlie and I playing together. And I shot 66-67. I was 18 years old. Charlie shot 70-64. And we played together. And the third round, I was paired, and I turned around and I said I was paired with Art Wall and Tommy Bolt. And Art was leading the tournament at 132, and Bolt was at 134. And Art was, I remember Art coming up to me and he was just couldn't have been nicer about, relax, young man, do this kind of stuff. And Tommy was the U.S. Open champion. He was a little bit more flamboyant, and he says, "You'll be all right, son." But so we started talking about that, and I remember Bolt, I missed six putts of 3 feet or under on the front 9 holes, shot 41. I was totally out of the tournament, and that's when Bolt came over and patted me on the shoulder and told me I'd be all right.
Yeah, right.
At 18, Ben Smith, his third shot, he trails by 2. This was just a moment ago.
Den made an attempt there to play a little bit of almost a bump and run type shot. Was unsuccessful.
Tough to do a bump and run out of that transition area.
Certainly is.
Well, it's a lot easier shot than he just had last time.
Well, you would have to speculate that Ben Smith will be in the last group with Phil Rogers and Jim Colbert tomorrow. Here's Phil Rogers back at 17, a chance to go to 10 under.
Jim looking at a 10-footer. Very, very difficult putt, though, to read. Going back up into the hill. It's got one slope coming off from the left side. The valley's to the other side. I think it'll move a little to his left. Let's see how Phil reads it.
Can't get enough break. One timid stroke today.
Came back a little bit at the end, didn't it, Bob?
Yeah, he accused himself of a timid stroke. And I think what he's saying is, had he hit that ball a little firmer, Jim, firm enough to say go 2 feet past the hole, it probably would have rolled much straighter than it did. Once the ball slows down, it'll get offline quickly if there's any reason for it to.
Jim Dent, an eagle try at 18. He trails right now by 3.
Jim Dent continues to just beat the par 5s.
And that putt just never had a chance. He knew it as soon as he hit it, but he can make birdie from there.
Colbert for the lead.
8 feet, Jim. He's straight. Yes, sir.
Your new leader at 10 under par. Jim Colbert goes to -10 with 1 hole left to go in his 3rd round. And that ties Jack Nicklaus for the low 54 if Colbert were to make a par. If Colbert birdies the par 5 18th, he'll have a new 54-hole record. Chichi has an eagle try at 18 to go back to 6 under, which is where he started out the day.
Chichi hit a wonderful shot in here with a 4-wood. Really used those great hands of his. Hit it high and soft and landed it on this right edge of the green, and it stopped. He's left himself about 22 or 3 feet for eagle. A little bit uphill and breaking a little bit to his left. He'd love to be able to do the sword dance after this.
Very unusual putting grip Chichi employs. Oh my goodness, looked like it hit the bottom edge of the hole and stayed out.
So Chichi with a tap in for a round of 1 over par, 73. He's in at 5 under along with Tommy Aaron and Jim Faree. And he trails Jim Colbert by 5.
Still in the ball game.
Oh, yes.
Not
If he
going
can
to
get
count.
those stomach problems worked out, he'll be right there tomorrow. Jim Dent for a birdie to go to -7. And a round of 71.
What an advantage here. I mean, Jim can reach every par 5 here in 2, and most of them with, say, 3 or 4 irons. It's a huge advantage for Jim.
The Vantage scoreboard, Jim Colbert leads Phil Rogers by 1. 531 yards away on the tee at 18. Jim Colbert birdied this hole Thursday, birdied it yesterday.
Jim, the drive is much more difficult today than it has been. The wind now picked up, coming from the players left to right.
Good smooth swing. Jim Colbert, of course, a student of Jimmy Ballard, and employs a lot of body motion. Very solid swing. Doesn't hit a lot of real bad shots, Gary Koch, offline.
Well, you know what I like about it so much, Murph? With that body swing that he uses, he doesn't curve the ball very much. Even when he misses it, he may pull it a little bit or push it a little bit, but by the lack of use of his hands, the ball never really curves too much. Never gets in a lot of trouble.
All right, it is. Get on down. I can't see that far anymore.
Excellent shot by Phil Rogers as well.
Yeah, it's down the right side, Murph, in very good shape to go to the pin.
So the last threesome off the tee at 18. Jim Colbert's lead is 1. He last won in the regular tour in 1983, trying for his first seniors tournament. The day's last threesome, striding through the transition area at 18. Colbert's lead is 1 over Rogers, 2 up over Smith and Dent.
The Just for Men Telestrator presented by the leader in men's hair coloring. Jim, we don't get to show this very often, but this is a particular problem. This fairway slants down to the green. It also slants off the hill from the player's right. The problem, you're trying to, this is number 18, the fairway, and the problem is you're about 220 from the center of the green. You're trying to hit something very high and come down very soft. It's very difficult to do when you're standing downhill. More often than not, you pick up, and what happens? You hit it into the transition area. We saw Tommy Aaron earlier, and Tommy was over in this area, and he made 7. So it's a problem that is hard to explain sometimes, but there it is. You're standing downhill trying to hit the ball up in the air.
Ben Smith had 6 birdies and 5 bogeys today. He's at 18 with Jim Nelford.
I've got Ben Smith here, and Ben, you had it going early in the round, and it slipped a little bit at the end, but you're still in contention. You got a chance tomorrow.
Yeah, I started off like I was going to birdie every hole again, and kind of slowed down a little bit in the backside there.
I noticed you were driving the ball awfully well and hitting it fairly long, and made some putts. Do you feel pretty good about overall about your whole game?
Yeah, I felt real good about a couple of drives. I was looking back at Den. He was away.
And that's not too often, is it?
No, that's not very often.
Well, great. Good playing, and get her going tomorrow and keep it going.
Okay, thank you.
56 years of age, out of Orlando, Florida. Didn't turn professional until he was 48 years of age. Ben Smith trailing by 3 along with Jim Dent tomorrow by 3 right now, depending on what Colbert does at the 18th.
Jim's got 220 yards to the flag, 204 to the front edge. Murphy's taking a 2-iron. He better get it solid. He's going to get it all the way there.
Good camera angle shows, in fact, that Jim's left foot is below his right.
He pulled it. Going a little left. Looks like it's going to catch that bunker.
Might be in the bunker or something.
Yeah, it's probably not all that bad. Murphy's got an awful lot of green to work with now.
And he's got a good lie. We can see it. If I were going to miss the shot, I'd want to miss it left. I can tell you for sure. I wouldn't want to be in the transition bunker way to the right because of those rocks in there. Hard to play out of.
Phil Rogers now from 214 yards. Phil's also taking a 2-iron. Phil's normal shot is a little higher than Jim's. Let's see how he can do with this one. Oh, that's a good-looking shot if it'll just stay left.
He's got it in the front pot bunker. I think the good news is that it hit on the back and rolled towards the front, so possibly he'll have a little bit of an uphill lie. A lot of angle to work with coming out of there, though.
George Archer now 213 yards, also with a 2-iron. Coming from the left side, can't really see much. Oh, he's hit it real low. This ball's got to really hustle if it's going to get out of that transition area.
I think it hit the scoreboard.
Goodness only knows where it went from there.
All 3 in bunkers. The day's last threesome. That's the situation when we come back to the tradition. When this 3rd round began, Jack Nicklaus trailed Phil Rogers by 12 shots. The defending champion with a 6 under 66. Right now, he's 4 behind Jim Colbert. And Gary Koch, you're out there watching George Archer. Where has the ball gone? It looked like it caromed off the scoreboard.
Well, it did, Jim. It hit the back of the scoreboard, and it has shot straight backward about 30 or 40 yards into some very deep, nasty-looking stuff.
There's the scoreboard. Let's go back a moment ago. It looked like George was trying to get the ball. There's the ball, lower right-hand side of your screen. Slow it down, and clank right there.
Okay, we're waiting. No ball yet. No ball yet. No ball. I don't see the ball at all.
I think he's found it now.
That was exactly the problem we were talking about, Gary, is that you're standing downhill trying to hit the ball up in the air, and George just came up and out of that shot and hit it right on the bottom of the club.
That's exactly what he did, Murph. He trying to help the ball up in the air, came out of it. Yes, he has found the ball now. He's about, as we said, 30 yards back behind the scoreboard. It's in a bush or a little bushy area of some sort. He's got a club. He looks as though he thinks he can advance it forward.
Scoreboard is not between himself and the hole, so he is not going to be entitled to any relief.
Well, I think from where he was, Murphy's very satisfied with that.
Now Phil Rogers is in the pot bunker, and Jim Colbert is in the transition bunker.
Jim Colbert's in the bunker to the left of the green, has a rather long bunker shot. Good news is he has plenty of green to work with.
Take a chair.
Not a bad shot.
That remaining for a birdie to go 11 under.
Yeah, those old 25, 30-yard bunker shots are not the easiest shot in our game, for sure.
Archer. George Archer's going to play next from the fringe to short of the green. Very difficult little pitch he's got himself left with now. Got that little collection area on the green that kind of funnels down toward that little pot bunker. He's going to have to play with that. He's got to get up, get up. Murphy needs to run up there and mark that thing in a hurry before it starts running back down.
Yeah. He's looking to run to the clubhouse.
Yeah, I'm sure he's ready to get in.
You know, as easy as the 18th may be, if you hit two very good shots, there certainly is a lot of trouble out there.
Phil Rogers in the pot bunker, trailing by 1.
Well, he's got a good lie. It's on the upslope. He does have to carry it over that little rise in the green. Oh, played it beautiful.
Problem for He hauled it. Well, I tell you, they can talk about Gary Player and Chichi Rodriguez in the sand, but I'm going to take Phil Rogers.
An eagle at 18, in at 11 under par. Phil Rogers, his lead was 6 when this third round got underway. Look at this. Oh, baby, yes, sir.
That's the break I needed. He said, that's the break I needed.
He hasn't moved that quickly for a decade.
Well, he chose not to dive on the ground. I guess the greenskeeper told him he did, in fact, damage 16 yesterday when he fell down, so.
He's still celebrating.
More, Big Bird. More, please.
He's entitled to that. He had a bit of a long day today in between. Started out with a bogey on number 1, end up with an eagle on 18. That's the way to do it.
Archer for his par.
15 feet, Jim. Cutting a little bit back up the hill. Ball should move slightly from his left to right.
How about that par from where he was?
Over fairway, over desert, over scoreboards.
And off the scoreboard.
And he made a 5. I'm not sure about that. Recount that for me.
Archer in with Chichi and Jim Ferree and Tommy Aaron at 5 under now. Jim Colbert with the eyes of a tiger, stalking a birdie putt that would put him in at 11 under and tie him with Phil Rogers for the lead.
This is not an easy putt to read. There's quite a bit of slope on Jim's left-hand side. He knows the mountains on his right-hand side, so these are the putts that really throw a lot of thoughts in your mind.
Murph, it's a very similar putt to the one he made on the last hole. About the same length, good firm stroke. Ball shouldn't move too much.
Beauty.
Yes, sir.
Into the heart of the hole. So Jim Colbert and Phil Rogers, they were paired together for the third round. They'll be together again tomorrow. High fives from both. Both at 11 under par. Their lead is 4 over Jim Dent and Ben Smith. And Jack Nicklaus trailing by 5 along with John Paul Kane. There's our final leaderboard after 54 holes of the tradition. Worth another look. The bunker shot, the eagle by Phil Rogers.
Well, these are the kind you dream about, Jim. You're uphill. All you do is you swing uphill. You make sure you swing uphill. You see how he's got the blade open? Now watch the club go up. Doesn't go straight into the dirt. Bang. Zip. Thank you.
And look out. The ground is a rumbling. 40 players who own 70 major championships spanning 7 decades gathered here at Desert Mountain, an outstanding field. Former Masters champion Art Wall, former Masters champion Doug Ford also here. Billy Maxwell, 20 over par after 54 holes. Jack Fleck at 19 over par. Murph, as you look at some of these other scores, some of the older honorees, Paul Runyon, who won 2 PGA championships in the 30s, and Dick Metz, both are 82 years young, and Sam Parks Jr., 81, the 1935 U.S. Open champion. Other honorees here, Tommy Bolt, who won the 58 U.S. Open, and Pete Cooper and Ed Fergal and Lionel Hebert. He fell asleep the other night.
Yes, he did. It's terrific to see the guys sitting in the sofas and relaxing in front of the fireplace and telling stories. And well, I tell you, if we took our cameras in there, you'd really get some grins. Canadian Al Balding, 6 over par. Don Bees, who normally plays very well here, 5 over. Marky Thompson and Gibby Gilbert both playing well recently. Lee Trevino came back today with a 69. J.C. Snead still not on his game, surprisingly. Gary Player in at 1 over par, had a rough day today.
Had a 77 today. Terry Dill in at even par. Under par, former Masters and U.S. Open champion Billy Casper, Reese McBee, Mike Hill won 5 times, of course, last year. Tom Shaw with a birdie at 18. Jimmy Powell, Don January. Pops was 6 under until he double bogeyed 13. Bob Charles really never got out of the gate at all today, the left-hander.
Bob said he used up all his birdies, 9 yesterday. Nichols and Cootie in at 3 under par. Dave Hill, good round today, 69, 4 under.
A couple of former Masters champs, Tommy Aaron and George Archer, and Jim Perry, and Chichi at 5. Jack, of course, with the day's best round at 6 under 66. Dent and Smith trail by 4. And our co-leaders after 54 holes here at Desert Mountain, Jim Colbert and Phil Rogers. That's the situation. Final round live coverage tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern Time. They're checking the scorecards. We'll come back to the tradition. You come back too. Today's 3rd round live coverage of the tradition has been brought to you by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. By Mobil. Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. Isn't your car worth the extra protection? By Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. And by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. The Senior PGA Tour with a question on something that involved Jim Colbert earlier. Another look. This was at the 12th hole. Watch the ball.
Question was, did the ball in fact move? It did jiggle, oscillated back and forth. However, Jim, it never changed its position. No penalty.
So the Senior PGA Tour officials are taking a look at that videotape in our trucks right now. Jim Colbert is waiting for the ruling before signing the scorecard, but right now, and the word has just come down, safe, no penalty at all, so that's the way things will be tomorrow when we join you for live final round coverage. Colbert and Rogers leading by 4, Nicklaus trailing by 5. Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealers have proudly presented the Senior PGA Tour. Of course, the Cadillac Series continues tomorrow. Live final round coverage. We'll all be back again at Desert Mountain. We hope you'll be back here too. Jim Colbert turned 51 on March 9th of this year out of Kansas State, where he was a political science major. He won 8 times on the regular tour and earned over $1.5 million. He'll go for his first Senior PGA Tour victory in 4 tournaments. Phil Rogers has been out here for 4 years. He'll be trying for his first win in 4 years. Rogers with 2 dramatic shots so far this week. An eagle at 18 today. And here's the charge after it went in. He chipped in from 40 feet at 16 yesterday. Rogers and Colbert tied for the top spot. Their lead is 4. Nicklaus trails by 5. For Bob, Gary, and Jim, I'm Jim Kelly. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.